So those of you who are pro-gun, say it out loud. I am willing to risk, including my own, a circle of friends and family. They're all at risk because we're a country. It's a risky country. We've got a lot of guns. I explicitly accept the risk of 15,000 people who didn't need to die for the right of gun ownership. If you can't say that, you don't have an opinion. So I just put that out there. Now, that said, I'm also a reasonable person. It doesn't sound like it maybe, but I am a reasonable person. And if somebody could come up with a plan that would, and I'll just speak in general terms, if somebody came up with a plan that infringed on my gun rights 5%, but could reduce by half the number of gun deaths, I would listen to that. I would listen to that. I would not say, oh, no, gun rights are absolute. I would say, yeah, gun rights, the way it's written in the Constitution is meant to be something closer to absolute, and that's the way I would prefer it, perhaps. But I'm also a human. I'm also a citizen. I have empathy. I care about people dying. I just said it was the price I was willing to pay. I didn't say I didn't care. I totally care. So if somebody can come up with an idea that has some marginal little bit of impact on my total ability to do everything I'd ever want to do with a gun, but it saved 10,000 people a year, I would certainly listen to that argument. And if you wouldn't, I would question your credibility on this topic. It doesn't mean I like it, but I'd listen to it. So I was listening to Harris talk about the AR assault rifle, so-called assault rifle buyback. And by the way, do you know what the AR stands for? I feel like there are at least 3 different theories for what AR stands for. It doesn't stand for assault rifle. I heard at least one person who knows more than I do. Somebody says Armalite, and then somebody else, was it Jack Posobiec? Or I don't want to blame him if this is wrong, so don't believe me, but I saw it somewhere, that the AR stood for Arkansas, where it was first made. Yeah, somebody's saying Armalite. But be that as it may, I'll call the family of weapons assault rifles. So Kamala Harris is joining the Beto side that says we'll take your rifles. We'll do a buyback. Now, the implication of a buyback is if you don't give your gun in the buyback, that the government will come and take your gun away. Here's how to fix that. Nobody's going to get elected president saying we're going to go take your gun. Would you agree? Would you agree that nobody's going to become president, period? There's just no chance. 0 chance of becoming president if you say we're going to go take your guns out of your house, period. Somebody says Jack Posobiec was being sarcastic, which sounds right. Because everybody always argues about what AR means. So it looks like in the comments, since so many of you are, I swear, if I were going to form an army, I would just take all of you watching Periscope because I know you're armed to the teeth. I probably have the best armed audience that isn't watching, I don't know, Rush Limbaugh or something. So here's the deal, people. If the country falls apart, I am going to form a militia. You're in, okay? So here's how it works. If there's an EMP attack, we lose all communication. I guarantee that somebody in the town of Pleasanton can find me. I'm easy to find. So you'll know where to report to me. You'll have to use Pony Express to communicate, but you'll know where to report. I will be in charge, and it'll be temporary. So I'll just be in charge until we vote. All right? So I'll be your emergency militia leader. Seriously. This is actually a serious offer. I'm not even kidding a bit. I will be your emergency militia officer. You will know that if we all lose communication, that you should find me. And that'll be your starting point. Everybody find me. Find a way to connect to me. I will simply coordinate you as best I can, with as smart as I can, to stay alive and stay safe. And then once we can communicate better, we'll have something like an election to see if you still want me to be in charge of your militia until the United States sets itself right. Okay? Now, you don't have to join, of course. It's voluntary. I'm just saying, what's your other thing? You know, what would be your other plan if you lose all communication in the country? This is serious. I'm dead serious. If the country loses all communication, the trouble goes down, I will be your central point of contact because everybody can find me. You'll know where I am. I mean, you can find California, you can find Pleasanton on an old-timey map. If you get to Pleasanton, just ask somebody where I am. They'll be able to find me. All right, so here's Kamala Harris said that she wanted to do a gun buyback. Her problem is that she is ambiguous about what will happen if you don't sell your gun back. I'm going to fix it for her, okay? I'm going to present a plan that you don't like, but that's not the point. I'm fixing her politics. So I'm not saying she's going to do it. I'm not saying she's going to be the nominee. I'm not saying you like it. I'm just saying that she's doing something incredibly stupid with her policy. Here's how to fix it. I will pretend I'm Kamala Harris and I'm trying to sell you on a gun buyback. Or I'm Beto and I'm going to sell you on a gun buyback. Here it is. This is me selling it to you. People, those are your guns. You bought them, you own them, you bought them legally. I'm not going to come to your house and take them away. And by the way, wouldn't that be the dumbest thing anybody ever did? There's no way, under any condition, in my administration, anybody's ever going to knock on your home and say, give me your gun, unless it's a red flag situation, in which case 90% of the public is sort of on the same page with that. But if you're a legal gun owner, and I've seen no problem, no way, anyway, anybody's going to knock on your door, period. What we'll have is a gun buyback window. It will last, I'll just say, 2 years. And for 2 years, we'll pay you full value for your AR. And here's the catch. They will be illegal to use after that point. I'm not recommending this. If you're coming in late, this is not my idea. Not my proposal. I'm just describing a proposal that wouldn't be stupid. Okay? That's all I'm doing. But here's the deal. If you don't sell it back to us, you won't be able to use it in public again. You'll never be able to go to the shooting range. You will never be comfortable taking it out in front of, friends. You won't be comfortable having it in your car. You just won't be comfortable having it. It won't be the same thing you thought it was. But what happens if somebody breaks into your house? You still have an AR. You didn't give it up. It's totally illegal. You use the AR to defend your home successfully. What happens when the police show up and there's a dead body in your living room and your AR is leaning against the wall and you say, yeah, I didn't give up my AR. I kept it. I used it. I shot this guy who came into my house. The law has to be no charges. Still take your gun, unfortunately. Still take your gun. But the law has to be no charges if you kept your gun and you killed somebody anyway, in self-defense. Likewise, if there's a mass shooting in the church across the street and you take your AR out and you go across the street and you kill the mass shooter, even though it wasn't self-defense on your part, again, no charges. So, if Kamala Harris had that plan and said, we're never going to go to your house and take it away, it will just be a sort of a worthless thing unless you want to keep it hidden and somebody attacks your house and you use it. Or let's say there's an EMP attack and you need to take out your gun to go take care of business. In that case, it would also be legal. In fact, how about this? This would be the most extreme Democrat plan that you'll never see. She could say, if the country is ever attacked or there's any kind of a, revolution situation, your AR is automatically legal again. How about this? You can put a gun lock on your AR and keep it if you demonstrate that it's a certain kind of lock. You can keep it at home, but you can never take it out of your home, even with the gun lock. Now, that wouldn't work because you have to move sometimes. Sometimes you have to relocate your home. So anyway, I'm just moving through the possibilities. In my opinion, a gun buyback could be marginally successful in reducing the number of guns that a bad person could get their hands on. So you don't want somebody living in your home who does not own a gun who can get a hold of yours. That's a pretty big deal. So, a gun buyback would reduce the number of opportunities for that bit of a mistake to happen. How much would that matter? Probably not a lot. I mean, you're probably talking dozens of life per year that would make a difference in the best case scenario if your entire gun buyback program worked. How many people would you expect to live who would have otherwise died? What's your guess? Let me ask you this. Somebody says I'm barking up a red herring. I'm pro-gun, very pro-gun, and I understand what you're saying. I understand that you've got a slippery slope argument and all that. I'm just working through the thinking of it. I believe I have the only credible opinion on gun rights in the country. Big statement, right? I'm going to say it again. I believe I have the only credible opinion on gun rights because I have the only complete opinion. Everyone else has an incomplete opinion. That probably includes you. But see if you can join me in completing it. And when I say a complete opinion, I don't mean that it's not complete in your mind. It might be complete in your mind. But in terms of what you're willing to share, I've never seen a complete opinion. I'm going to give you the first one. Here's a complete opinion on guns. I favor gun ownership, the Second Amendment, and here's the second part. Here's the price I'm willing to pay. Tens of thousands of innocent American lives per year. If you can't say that, you're not in favor of guns. Say it out loud. Say it with me. If you're in favor of guns, say you're willing to pay the price that some low tens of thousands, I don't know what the number is, because you might want to subtract out the suicides or whatever. So maybe, what is it, net 15,000? What's the net after suicide of gun deaths? Net 15? Because remember, it's net. You have to look at net. As most of you will, quickly jump on and say, what about all the people who are saved? What about all the lives that are saved by gun ownership? Right. That counts. You can't ignore all the people who are protected by it. You can't ignore them. I'm saying there's a net. Maybe we've protected 50,000 people, and it costs us 15,000, not counting the suicides, because that's double that number. All right. So those of you who are pro-gun, say it out loud. I am willing to risk, including my own, a circle of friends and family. They're all at risk because we're a country. It's a risky country. We've got a lot of guns. I explicitly accept the risk of 15,000 people who didn't need to die for the right of gun ownership. If you can't say that, you don't have an opinion. So I just put that out there. Now, that said, I'm also a reasonable person. It doesn't sound like it maybe, but I am a reasonable person. And if somebody could come up with a plan that I'll just speak in general terms. If somebody came up with a plan that infringed on my gun rights 5%, but could reduce by half the number of gun deaths, I would listen to that. I would not say, oh, no, gun rights are absolute. I would say, yeah, gun rights, the way it's written in the Constitution is meant to be something closer to absolute, and that's the way I would prefer it, perhaps. But I'm also a human. I'm also a citizen. I have empathy. I care about people dying. I just said it was the price I was willing to pay. I didn't say I didn't care. I totally care. So if somebody can come up with an idea that has some marginal little bit of impact on my total ability to do everything I'd ever want to do with a gun, but it saved 10,000 people a year, I would certainly listen to that argument. And if you wouldn't, I would question your credibility on this topic. Doesn't mean I like it, but I'd listen to it.